I'm Rob Port from SayAnythingBlog.com. I'm here with Representative Roscoe Streyle. He's a Republican from the Minot area, and gun control has obviously been on the nation's mind recently. We had the horrendous shootings in Newtown, Connecticut, at Sandy Hook Elementary School, and also that has sparked a gun control debate nationally. More recently, President Obama's gun control task force has come out and basically said that, or hinted at, the idea that we could get more gun control laws. We could even get gun control laws pushed through by executive order. That has some implications for the states, and Representative Streyle has an idea to maybe make sure that any gun control policy that gets enforced in North Dakota is enforced in accordance with what North Dakotans want to see with gun control policy. Representative Streyle, first of all, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Rob.
Describe for me the legislation that you are proposing.
Well, basically, it was a constituent bill that came up with most of the ideas in it, so I thought I'd run with it because I agreed with it. And what it basically would do is any executive order, law, resolution, whatever you want to call it, coming from the federal government. Obviously, we can't tell them what to do with their federal stuff, but what we could do, and what this bill addresses, is it would say that our local law enforcement officials will not enforce it, will not confiscate guns or clips if it gets to that registration. If they want to do it, they can do it with their ATF agents, and it would bar any elected official from authorizing the measures that would come down. So they can push the measures down, which we can't stop, but they can police it themselves and do all the whatever is necessary in these laws coming down themselves without any state or local help.
So essentially what this says is that the federal government, obviously, they can pass whatever gun control laws they want, and they can use whatever federal resources they want to enforce those laws in the state, but that the state of North Dakota isn't going to use any of our state resources to basically to help them. What all does this include? I mean, I would imagine local law enforcement. Give us a list specifically. I mean, what's the real world implications of this?
Yeah, all local, state law enforcement. So that'd be highway patrol, down to your sheriff's departments, to your deputies, and if the sheriff authorized it, let's say, authorized the deputies to go out and do that, it would be a misdemeanor. So he would be essentially removed from office, charged with a Class A misdemeanor, and prosecuted, and never be able to run for office again. So there is some teeth in it. And I think our local law enforcement officials are busy enough. If any of this gun control does come down, they don't have the time or the resources to do the federal government's job. And I think it's a win for the law enforcement professionals, and especially for the gun owners. And if ATF wants to bring 500 agents in here and do it, well, we can't stop them, obviously, but this would not allow any local help whatsoever in that task.
Now, how are we? What's the enforcement mechanism for? I mean, what happens if the North Dakota Highway Patrol hypothetically decided, well, okay, we are going to enforce these new federal laws? And by the way, is it any gun laws, or is it just new gun laws?
It's just the new gun laws that would come into effect actually after December 31st, 2012. So basically anything this year. So any of the old laws that are on the books, they're free to help them enforce them, just like, and we don't have any problem with that. What this specifically addresses is any new measure. Say if they banned 30-round clips and did a confiscation, which I don't foresee happening as far as the confiscation piece, but it would not allow the local law enforcement to pick those things up. They can come do it themselves, but no help from any local state entities, period.
And what happens? And what happens if a state entity decides that they're just going to do it? Is there an enforcement mechanism in the law for that?
Yeah, that was the previous what I talked about. The last section of the bill would make it a Class A misdemeanor, where if the sheriff said, well, we're not going to abide by state law, say this would pass, and we're going to help you, he could be prosecuted and thrown out of office and barred from ever running again for an elected office. So there's a really a big disincentive for them not to do it and to follow the state law should this become the law. So I think there's some teeth in it and some protection in there too for the local officials to say, well, we can enforce this, we can help you because we would lose our job or we'd it's against state law.
But this still leaves the window open for instance, if the state legislature wants to pass a gun control law, and that's personally obviously not something that I would want to advocate or see happen, but if the state legislature did decide that they wanted to pass, a ban on certain types of magazines or certain types of firearms or what have you, essentially, law enforcement would be allowed to enforce that law, correct?
Yeah, then you would have a conflict with state law should this one pass. So, that would have to be worked out probably in refining the language. But yeah, then, it would open the door for that, which I totally would not support whatsoever, any local or state gun control laws from the state perspective.
Now, what have you heard from any of the gun groups, NRA, Gun Owners of America, or anything like this? Have they weighed in on this legislation?
No, I have not spoke to them on that, and it is something that will be brought to their attention. Just basically getting co-sponsors at this point, and got a full bill at this point of all the sponsors needed in the House and the Senate. So we'll be looking to move this forward. I'm guessing through the Judiciary Committee in the House first, and see if we can get it passed through there and through the House floor and to the Senate.
All right. Well, Roscoe, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Rob. Take care.